Hey YouTubers, welcome to another episode of the Python Level 1 series. And this episode is all about input and changing data types. So let's just get into it. So just like the first video, I like to go through a couple of questions just so that you know what to expect from this video. So the questions for today is, what is input? What does input look like in Python? What is the type function? How can you change slash convert a data type, and common mistakes, if any? So input. The simplest way I can explain this is it's a response or an event. In computer science, it's what you type in, or it could be what you activate as an event into a program. So for example, if you look at the pictures below, there is a keyboard, and the keyboard allows you to type in something. A mouse allows you to click on something. And then you have a webcam, which is getting input from the camera to record or stream. What does input look like in Python? So we use the input command, which makes it very easy to remember. And the way the input command works is we normally use or attach a variable to the input, because if you don't attach a variable to the input, then it's not going to save anything. And we'll practice it so you can see the difference. And so the below two examples are the same examples from the first video, which is name equals, but instead of name equaling a set name, we are going to apply an input so someone can type in their name. And inside of the input, you say what you want them to do. So I am telling them to enter your name. And then the second line, we have age, and it equals input as well. And we are telling the user to enter their age. So let's practice. I am going to go to my REPLs, and I'm just going to create a new REPL. This is Python, and I will title it input and data conversion. Create a REPL. New data. Okay, so let's just practice the first ones that we have. We have name equals input, enter your name, and we're going to press run. So what will happen is the information that we put in quotation marks where it says enter your name will show here. But now if you notice, there's a cursor waiting for us to enter in some information. So I'm going to go ahead and enter some information. And once you're done with entering that information, you press enter, and then your Python console is waiting for the next command. So Portia gets saved into name, but name isn't being used, so we don't see anything else with it. So let's create a response. If you want to take a moment and try to figure out how to create a response with this variable, go ahead and do that. But if not, you can continue and watch how this works. So let's say I wanted to say hello plus name, or I could use comma if I want to add a space. So I'll use a comma. Why not? I'll press run, enter name again, Portia, and then it says hello Portia. If I run this again and I say a random other name like Jane, it'll say hello Jane. Let's do the same thing for age. So we're going to say age equals input, enter your age, and I'm going to print I am age years old. So I'm going to press run again. Say Jane, age is 30, I am 30 years old. So I have a call and response thing happening here where I'm asking for a variable name, and I'm also asking for the age, and then I'm also printing a sentence with those variables. If you want to challenge yourself even further, go ahead and take a moment and create a variable called color and ask the user for their favorite color and then print a response for that color, similar to the first video, just so that you can put two and two together. So the answer for that is color equals input. Enter your favorite color, and then we're going to print out a response. Interesting that color is your favorite color. So we have Jane 30 purple. Interesting that purple is your favorite color. Cool. So let's learn some new stuff. Practice time is over. So what is the type function? So the type function or command is what will return the data type of a variable. And there's a point to this. There's a reason why I put this in here. And we're going to practice it just so that you can see what the differences are. So I can grab name, like I did with my input, and I can say print type, and then inside of the type, I can put the variable or some type of information in there. So what type will do is return the type of information that it's going to be. So if you forgot what data types were, there are strings, floats, integers, and booleans. Strings are things with quotation marks, mainly words. Floats are decimal numbers, and integers are whole numbers, and booleans are true and false, which you'll learn in the next video. So if you notice, when we use type, or you'll notice, by default, input is going to always give you a string. And if you need to convert something from a string to an integer or float, we have different commands that will do that for you. It's kind of like a blanket. The three commands that you can use to change types are str, which stands for string. It turns the data into a string. Int, which turns the data into an integer. And then float, which turns the data into a float. Now, int and float, the information has to have numeric values. And if they don't, then you get an error. With a string, you can pretty much turn anything into a string. Let's look at the example below. It has age equals input, enter your age. Now, when you say print type age, it's going to print out str and it's going to say it's a string, because by default, an input is a string. And if you wanted it to be a number, you would have to change it into a number. And so the next line below, I say age equals int age. And what this will do is it'll update age to now be a number versus a string, because I wrapped the int parentheses around age, kind of like a blanket. And so if I print type age now, it should print integer. And we're going to practice that. All right. So since I already have age here, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to go right after age and see what the type is. So I'm going to say print. I'll say type, and in parentheses, I'm going to say age. And just to remember that what this is going to do is it's going to print out the data type that the variable currently is. And so let's take a look. Jane, and then 30. So it says class str, which str stands for string. Now, if you really wanted this to be a number, you need to convert the type into something else. For age, normally you would want age to be a whole number and not a decimal, and that's the main reason why we would change this into an integer versus a float. But if you wanted your age to be a float, by all means, you can turn it into a float. There are two ways to do it. In my original example, I created a second line that changed age to be an integer, but I can actually do it on the same line as my input by doing that whole blanket thing by saying int and then putting parentheses around the input, and it's going to automatically wrap the input or the text that someone enters and change it into a number. So I'm going to press run again. And I'm going to put Jane 30. And now it is officially an integer. And why is this so important? The biggest thing about it being important is if you need the person's input to be a calculation or a number, such as there's going to be an example that we're going to do together. You need to be able to change the type so that you can get the right input. Because by default, the input is always a string. So for example, let's say I wanted to get money. And money is normally or allows you to have decimal numbers. And if you want someone to enter a certain amount of money, you need this information to be a decimal number. Let's say you wanted to calculate the change. What if I said total equals input, enter your total, and then I wanted to get the cash that they're going to give me, input, enter, let me format this, enter a dollar amount, and then I wanted to print you will receive, or let's say your changes total, cash minus total. So let's see how that works. Enter name, Jane, $30 amount. Oh no, not dollar amount. Color is purple. And then enter a total. Let's say it was $100. Enter a dollar amount. Say it was, let's say I gave $104. And I get an error. It says unsupported operand error. Operand type for str and str. So it notices that both cash and total are strings because I never changed the type. So if I really want this to work, I need to change the type to a float. And remember to wrap around the input with the parentheses and also the type that you want to change it to. Press run again and try this again. Name is Jane, 30, purple. Let's say the total was $17 and I gave $20.25. So my change is $3.25. Now that works, but it only works because I changed the types, okay? So remember that when you're thinking about money or real number amounts, you have to change the type of your input if you want the calculations to be correct. Common errors, mainly the common errors would just be forgetting to change the type to what you need it to be. And also a lot of people, if you didn't understand how input works, will tend to say, instead of saying name equals input, enter your name, some people will do something like this. They'll say name, input, and inside of the input they'll put Bob. But you need to remember that this section is what you want the user to do. Not what you should do. So this is the section where you should enter some information because it's going to print out here and it's going to expect you to type in something based off of what they want you to enter, okay? I think that's the main issue. Oh, the other common The other common mistake is making sure that your parentheses are paired. So if you notice, every set of parentheses, even when you add ints or floats, there are um, the same number of opening parentheses and the same number of closing parentheses. So if you get an error for missing a parentheses, I'll just show you what it looks like. It says syntax error, invalid syntax, and it says print hello name. The error is sometimes not on the same line. There's nothing wrong with this print. But if I look above, I am missing a parenthesis. And so that is honestly the error. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how Python works, is you have to know that sometimes the error is not on the same line. The error can be above that line, and for this case it was missing a parenthesis. So just make sure everything is paired correctly, and make sure that you have your quotation marks paired correctly as well. Everything is color coded, so you should use the colors to also help you figure out where your errors are. And that's it. That was pretty quick. Well, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. It's going to be about Booleans and if then statements. And I hope you learned something new today. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.